So before I start the video, I just want to say thank you guys. I know I say it all the time, but I really mean it. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for the outpouring of support. Once again, I'm sorry I did not get the video out on time, but you guys are right. Mental health comes first. If you're wondering, yeah, my anxiety is still up, but I have gotten a little better. Plus, I am starting to get used to Zoloft, even if it gives me crazy dreams. And once again, if you think you need help, support is always out there. The coldest night of the coldest year comes right before the spring. Anyhow, have you ever heard the expression, you go to therapy to deal with people who they themselves won't go to therapy? Let's talk about one of those guys.
All I need is your help.
You're insane if you think I'll help you.
I'm insane either way, Brainiac!
Alex, it's been a while. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk. I'm here to talk to you about Gravity Falls, or more specifically, Dorito Daddy himself, Bill Cipher. Very Simpsonish of me to cover a Halloween video in November. Anyhow, look, the foreplay is over. I blue-balled you guys long enough. Here we go. I'm sure y'all know who Bill is, but if you haven't, let's discuss. Bill Cipher is the main antagonist of Gravity Falls, and he's often cited as Alex Hirsch's greatest creation, and he is 100% king in a past life. Look, the theory probably isn't true, but it's fun to wonder. Bill is a trillion-year-old demon from another dimension, well, specifically a triangle demon. What's bad about Bill is he's effectively a child who never learned his lesson, but has all the powers and mental calculation of a stockbroker. He's a demon, sort of like Man-Bear Pig, and makes deals to further himself at the expense of screwing people over, all in the name of world conquest. Now, I like Bill. He's probably my favorite character next to Stanford. In fact, this line,
"Listen up, you one lifespan, three-dimensional 5-cent skin puppets,"
my favorite in the whole show. However, kind of like Pacifica, I don't think he's as awesome as some people claim. I know, sacrilege, but let me give you my side of things. Starting from the beginning. See, while Bill himself is an interesting character, the truth is, we actually don't know that much about him. What we do know either comes from context clues or stuff the crew has put out, like the journals or AMAs, which sucks because Bill is super interesting, and I wish we got more moments with him in the show, backstory-wise. I only bring this up because this was one of my problems with Starverses, and if you say it for one, you gotta say it for all. I guess, compared to Starverses, what comes from outside sources usually makes more sense and doesn't seem as contradictory. At worst, it's like filling in the blanks about stuff we already know. For example, as previously mentioned, Bill is a demon hailing from the second dimension.
Imagine living in the second dimension. Flat minds in a flat world with flat dreams.
That makes sense. Have you ever read the novella Flatland, A Romance of Many Dimensions by Edwin Abbott? The story is a satire on Victorian politics, where people are represented by various shapes. For example, women are line segments, while men are polygons. Triangles in this world happen to be among the lowest classes of polygons, that being soldiers. So not only was Bill an outcast because of his beliefs, but he also happened to come from humble beginnings. He found himself bored by this dimension and attempted to liberate his people by setting everything on fire, including his family.
I liberated my dimension, Stanford, and I'm here to liberate yours.
He majorly regrets it. For this act, Bill was banished to the Nightmare Realm, a dimension of chaos, pandemonium, and turmoil. Kinda like my mother-in-law's. The Nightmare Realm is a prison dimension, where the worst of the worst gets sent, and Bill fit right in, befriending a gang of criminals and nightmares he calls his friends. For simplicity's sake, they're the henchmaniacs. The problem is, the Nightmare Realm isn't exactly stable, and is slowly decaying, so Bill needs a way to get out. However, Bill's idea of a new home is a place he can wreck.
A fun world, a better world, a party that never ends with a host that never dies. No more restrictions, no more laws.
So if he comes to our world, he will effectively destroy it. Bill does not give a sh. To this end, he found that while he couldn't physically leave, his consciousness could. So he would project himself into our world via dreams, and might have observed us through his symbols, so that means triangles, pyramids on dollar bills, etc. Okay, I don't know, that part is kind of vague. Bill tried for centuries to trick somebody into building a portal, but the person always caught on, and it sucks he's likely outside defy the central finite curve because he and Rick would get into a lot of crazy shenanigans. One of the groups he tricked was the early inhabitants of Gravity Falls, who found a way to defeat Bill, the Zodiac Wheel.
The world's most confusing game of hopscotch?
That too. But more on that later. In the 1980s, Stanford Pines came to Gravity Falls to study the anomalies of the town and stumbled upon the cave drawing and a certain inscription. He read it aloud and then took a nap. Ford, are you on Zoloft too?
Hiya, smart guy. Smart guy.
Okay, I just want to bring something up. In a previous video, I said that I thought Bill and Ford dated. To be honest, I wasn't doing it to be serious. I don't ship them, it's super chaotic in a bad way, but you can't deny these two got a vibe going on.
Quit the game, Cipher. If I'm still alive, you must want something from me.
Sharp as ever, Fordsy.
I'm probably looking too deeply into it. Bill took advantage of Ford's insecurity complex and told him he was a muse who chose one brilliant mind a century to inspire. Yeah, that's what they're calling it nowadays. To this end, Ford began to worship Bill as a deity, keeping statues and drawings of him in his house. Surprised Biddleford never noticed how Ford got rid of all his portraits of Patrick. The two came to a deal where Bill could possess Ford whenever he wanted, and in return, Bill would help Ford build the portal. When Ford tested out the machine, an accident happened.
What? Is it working? What did you see?
Apparently, Biddleford saw Bill remove his exoskeleton to feed, if you're curious. Biddleford later went insane, blah blah blah, and Ford confronted Bill.
Bill, you lied to me. Where does that portal really lead?
Oh, looks like Mr. Brainiac finally got smart.
Bill, you scoundrel, how could you? Ford was duped, bamboozled, and smeckledorfed. He shut down the portal, but due to being as insecure as a city bridge with structural issues, daddy problems, he did not destroy the journals and buried them around town, which honestly, as a creator, I totally understand. Are you really gonna kill your babies? Ford tried to give the last journal to his twin brother, Stanley, but stuff happens, yada yada yada, and...
Stanley! Do something! Stanley!
Decades later, we properly meet Bill in the episode Dreamscapers. Now, believe it or not, despite his significance, Bill was never meant to be anything more than a one-off character. His role was to be a comic relief, somebody who annoyed Dipper with conspiracy theories. Oh, so he's like Dale. However, a variety of factors happened, which led to Bill assuming the role of the big bad. One, he was originally meant to be voiced by David Lynch, the creator of Twin Peaks, and a major inspiration for Alex Hirsch. And he's also the husband of Isabella Rossellini, the voice of the Bat Queen. However, David refused, so Alex filled in by doing a really bad David Lynch impression. Since they no longer had to worry about David's schedule, and they didn't have to spend so much money on an expensive voice actor, this meant there was little restraint in when they got to use Bill. 2, the crew planned on another antagonist, some sort of a cryptid, but they couldn't think of one, so they went with Bill. Altogether, this led to Bill becoming the bad guy we all know and love. Now, if you watched my earlier videos, I mentioned this concept I've coined called the Elijah Michelson treatment, where a character is meant to be one-off or minor, but the crew loves them so much they give them a bigger role. While I often use this term negatively to refer to characters like Tammy or Mina, the truth is, it's not always bad. I mean, the guy it's named after was only meant to be in one episode, but the crew liked his actor so much they completely revamped the show's lore just so they had an excuse to keep him around. Bill is a fascinating case study on why the Elijah Michelson treatment can often be a good thing, depending on the character. Come on, let's be honest, Gravity Falls would not have been as great if it weren't for him. In the episode, Gideon once again tries to steal the deed to the Mystery Shack, and like usual, the Pines family averts it.
Who is the cat and who is the...
Goose, broom.
Oh no, not the broom!
You know, declawing isn't illegal in Oregon. Not that I'm for it. Wanting the shack at all costs, Gideon comes prepared with his latest trump card. Out in the woods, he summons Bill as his minion.
Oh, Gravity Falls, it is good to be back!
Now I guess it is Bill's first episode, so some of his behavior isn't carried over to later episodes. But it is worth mentioning that he was a smidge different this time around, to the point where in rewatches he almost seems like a totally different character. He sounds kind of different, he acts different, and he's more serious about conspiracy theories.
How do you know my name? Oh, I know lots of things.
Lots of things.
And I'll get to it later, but he's also more of a pushover. I don't think he would have willingly been a minion in later episodes. He would have been like, I'm doing you a favor, Pentagram, so you work for me. Or he would have found a way to make the deal a tad more ironic. Even when he's negotiating with Gideon, Gideon is the one who makes demands. Bill is ordered to go into Stan's mind and steal the code to his safe, and likely thinking that he means Ford, Bill agrees.
You know what, kid? You've convinced me. I'm sold. I'll help you with this, and in return, you can help me with something I've been working on. We'll work out the details later.
Makes me wonder what he had in mind. Bill goes off to enter Stan's mind, with Dipper, Mabel, and Zeus following, where we get foreshadowing.
Ah, Stan's family. We meet at last.
Okay, I'm curious about this moment. Does he know it isn't Ford? Did Ford ever tell him about Stan, his screwy brother? He's never like, wow, Ford, you really let yourself go. Or, wow, I heard you sucked. Those stories did not do you justice. Bill explains that one of the memory doors holds the key to the safe, and he has to find it and deliver it to Gideon. The trio tries to beat him to it, but it's like trying to climb to the top of Niagara Falls with your bare hands.
What do you want with our uncle's mind anyway?
Oh, just the code to the old man's safe.
Yeah, once again, I don't think he would have acted like this in later episodes. He would have waited for them to mess up and then made fun of them like, you kids know you have to go behind those doors to get the key to the old man's safe, right? On the other hand, we do need exposition. One journey later, and the kids manage to find the code.
Hey guys, I just saw a memory of Stan roller skating and wearing short shorts. Hey, something weird's going on here.
Oh, I spoke too soon.
Yellow?
Did he just say yellow as in the color?
Perfect. Now give it to me and I'll fulfill my end of the bargain.
Which is what exactly? Bill tries to uphold his end of the bargain, but Mabel comes prepared.
Ah, no, wait, no!
None more bottomless than the bottomless pit, which as you can see here is bottomless. Whoa, whatever that was, it's gone forever.
Wait, but the bottomless pit does have an opening, and Stan was around for that memory. So couldn't Bill just wait for it to come back? Or at least explain it to Gideon?
The deal's off!
Wait, no, wait!
I'm switching to plan B.
Yeah, once again, Bill would never do this. You make a deal with him, only he can cut it off. He's like the IRS. I suppose maybe Bill acts differently in later episodes because he learned his lesson this time around. In this episode, as far as he knew, he was dealing with a senile old man and a bunch of impressionable kids. He even says this at the end.
You know, I'm impressed with you guys. You're a lot more clever than you look.
Maybe Ford made him a tad arrogant, which wore off when he got beaten. Dipper and Mabel might have taught him that the only way to get what he wanted was to hold his cards close to his chest, make them think they're in control, and then spring the trap. Anyhow, it seems like those anger management courses were a waste of money.
Do you have any idea what I'm like?
When I'm mad, eat nightmares!
Dude, eat a Snickers, not just one. Devour an entire box of Snickers. And elsewhere, Dipper learns from Memory Stan that in the mindscape, the only limit is your imagination. Dipper rushes off while Bill is delivering untold nightmares.
Ah! My cuteness! What did you do to my
Cuteness.
Wow, no wonder Bill is everybody's favorite character. The gang is able to stop Bill, and just when it seems the kids have a chance of beating him, like a college art professor, he puts a stop to their creativity. After all, he will get his revenge one day. This was just a taste.
Until then, I'll be watching you. I'll be watching you.
Bill Bill, why do you sound like the ice cream truck guy by the park? Bill appears next in the episode Sock Opera, which is a pretty good episode but with a bad ending. Dipper is trying to get into the offer's computer, but can't figure out the password. This was before Gmail. In doing so, Dipper is driving himself ragged, staying up all hours of the night, and Mabel is too busy trying to get the attention of a random boy to help Dipper. This time, the focus is on puppets. When Dipper is at his lowest, Bill offers to be his guardian demon.
The point is I like you. How's about you let me give you a hint, huh? I only ask for a small favor in return.
Bill, this is Disney.
Did you miss me? Admit it, you missed me.
Disney, don't you know? Adults don't like cartoons. You gotta keep it G-rated.
Here, have a head that's always screaming.
Much better. Like usual, Dipper rejects him, but Bill promises to watch him like a perfume department lady.
Well, if you ever change your mind, I'll be here for you, ready to make a deal.
Sometime later, Dipper gets a frightening message.
Too many failed entries. Huh? Initiate data erase in 5 minutes.
No.
Yeah, pretty sure this is Bill's trick. Why wouldn't the laptop close earlier? Usually with this kind of thing, it's 3 strikes and you're out. Yeah, Ford got to be hyper vigilant near the end, but he would rather bury his research in a playground instead of destroying it. And if you're wondering, apparently the password was Stanford. Quite humble, but I wonder if Ford is the type to use uppercase letters and symbols. Maybe it isn't Stanford, it's ST@Inford. Bill tells Dipper he'll help, so long as he gets a puppet. Dipper is reluctant until Bill goes full Tumblr user and hyper-analyzes Mabel and Dipper's relationship.
Besides, what's your sister done for you lately? How many times have you sacrificed for her, huh? And when has she ever returned the favor?
And the sad part is, he's right, which makes him dangerous. Pro tip, if you ever write a villain, it's okay to make sure they have a point every once in a while. Reluctantly, Dipper agrees.
So what puppet are you gonna pick anyway?
Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny.
Ow! What?
You should have specified which puppet. But yay, we get Dipper, a complete and total masochist.
Man, it has been so long since I've inhabited a body. Woo! Woo! Pain is hilarious!
Remember, he used to possess Ford, a scrawny, wimpy nerd. I'm really surprised Ford will make it to 92. Bill goes searching for the journal in a spoonful of pain, but only the last one can be found.
So where do you keep that journal anyway? It's gotta be around here somewhere.
I borrowed your journal to use as a prop in the show. I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna go before you process the sentence. Okay, bye!
This is the only time Mabel being Mabel would have been a good thing, if you just kept your trap shut. Due to being in the mindscape, Dipper is effectively a ghost, as he doesn't have a vessel to possess.
But how can you stop me if you don't exist?
Now, I know some of you guys wonder why Bill is doing all of this weird crap and nobody is commenting on it. After all, Gravity Falls does like to lampshade more than other cartoons. Apparently, they were gonna have people ask about Dipper, but time constraints were a thing. I just hand wave it as they all assume Dipper's either half asleep or talking to himself, like, oh, he has gold eyes. Yeah, that's probably just his eyes being super bloodshot.
Need a ride, Dipper?
Oh, anything for you, Red.
I'm gonna stop you, Bill. I'm gonna find that journal before you do, and I'm gonna stop you!
Bill, you pervert, she's like 15. Dipper, possessing a sock puppet, goes to Mabel to ask for the journal back, because if Bill destroys it, that body is bye-bye. And that's not hyperbole. Journal Free says that if Bill succeeded, he would have thrown Dipper's body off the water tower as a grand finale just to spite him. And he might have been open to making a similar deal with Mabel. But I have to ask, why can't Dipper be a puppet forever? He's adorable. See what I mean? Mabel promises to help, so long as Dipper understudies. And despite being sleep deprived and lacking a teleprompter, he seems to be pretty good.
Gabe, you're back from the war!
Yes, I am. Want to kiss and sing at the same time?
Okay!
Gotta say, despite having little to no rehearsal and being written several days earlier, the play is excellent, self-insert fanfic or not.
Sorry, Mabel, but I have to go fight. In the war! Ah!
I really want to know what led up to this. However, Bill previously volunteered to be the Reverend for the big wedding scene, so Mabel and Dipper gotta worry about that. Bill tells Mabel that if she doesn't surrender the journal, he'll ruin the play and her reputation, because Bill is bad like that.
There it is. I mean, who would sacrifice everything they've worked for just for their dumb sibling?
Dipper would.
Huh?
Wow, Mabel actually had a moment of empathy. A fight breaks out as Bill tries to steal the journal, but Mabel knows all about human weaknesses.
What is this feeling? My body is burning! I can't move these stupid noodle legs! Curse you, useless flesh sticks!
Bill, maybe you should have waited to subject Dipper's body to countless tortures after you accomplished your goal? Or did you think Dipper being sleep deprived was some sort of fun human sensation? Dipper is able to get his body back, and for her brother, Mabel sabotages her play.
Huh?
Don't speak to me, Mabel. You've made a mockery of my art form.
Oh, Mabel had a good moment.
Did he just make out with his puppets?
I might have dodged a bullet there.
Yep, kinda hate the resolution. Like, they know there's a problem with Mabel, they address it, and that's the most they're doing. Even Bill knew, and him being the villain is no excuse. Look, I actually like Mabel, I just don't like how the show treated her. The reason Mabel never grew as a character was, unlike Dipper, she never had to give anything up, so it was harder for her to learn her lesson. Maybe this one time, she gives up the perfect dude for Dipper, and while it sucks, she at least proved Bill wrong. Anyhow, Bill disappears for the time being, so he can plan his next moves, while Ford comes back into the picture, yada yada yada. Apparently, according to Journal 3, Ford and Bill were in the middle of a huge fight, and Ford was about to destroy Bill when the portal opened. Which honestly, I call BS on, if only because of how the pair act in the last Mabelcorn. That scene, it was like they haven't talked in years. In universe, shouldn't it have only been a few days or weeks at most? It seems that, thanks to traveling around the cosmos for decades, Ford got hot. Like, I don't know who's hotter, him or Bellows. You gotta give credit where credit is due. Rick Sanchez traveled around for roughly the same amount of time, and he looks like a broom with blue hair. Ford also got a metal plate installed in his head, so Bill couldn't possess him. Once again, not hyperbole. One night, Bill decides to pay his old friend, and I only mean friend, a visit. Not a weird one. Ford is on the couch and he shares a house with several other people, including minors.
Well. Aren't you a sight for sore eye?
Stop it.
Anford Philbrick Pines, my old pal.
Bill tells Ford that when he least expects it, he'll destroy the rift and unleash Weirdmageddon, despite living in dreams. Ford tries to tell Dipper and Mabel about Bill, only to find that they know.
You know him?
Know him? He's been terrorizing us all summer. I have so many questions and theories.
As does the entire fandom. It's not really a surprise anymore, dude. Instead, Ford has the twins help Bill proof the shack. Mabel by engaging in one of the worst plots of the show, and Dipper by forcing him to have a mental breakdown. Wait, but why couldn't all of them Bill proof their minds? Regardless, things seem to be going okay.
I guess I can't possess anyone inside the shack, so I'll just have to find my next pawn on the
outside.
I wonder who he'll possess next. It could be anybody at all.
It's called a time bubble, and it prevents time from going forward. Summer in Gravity Falls can last as long as you want it to.
Oh, come on, Blendon. It's Blendon. Really? Blendon. Look, I have nothing against the guy, but that's the worst possible person you could pick. Dipper and Mabel versus the future happens, blah blah blah. The apprentice plotline is rushed, blah blah blah. And after an argument, Mabel takes the wrong backpack and runs into the woods.
The time travel guy? What are you doing here?
You said you don't want summer to end, right? Did I hear that right?
Oh, it's totally not Bill. Oh wow, it's Bill. How surprising. My heart stopped. Look, the laugh was cool, but I seriously don't like it. If you're wondering, I think the reasoning behind this decision was Blendon played more of an active role in season 2, even getting his own episode. In Blendon's game, Blendon wanted to get revenge on Dipper and Mabel for costing him his dream job, which, to be fair, it's also partially his fault, but Dipper and Mabel still got him fired, and they did not really seem to care. That episode was much like sock opera, where the crew admitted they made a whoopsie with a previous episode and went about trying to fix it. In that case, Dipper and Mabel made Time Baby give Blendon his job back and a full head of hair.
I got my job back! I feel like hugging somebody!
I can kill you in 8 different ways.
Yes, sir!
But no good deed goes unpunished. If you're the person, the good deed is for. According to Journal 3, Blendon got made fun of because he lost Globnar to 2 children. Everybody, including Time Baby, started calling him No Friend in Blendon. Not gonna lie, it's kinda catchy. Blendon later met Bill, who said if they came to a deal, he would take care of Time Baby and stop him from bothering Blendon, which he kinda does do later on. Now this would have been interesting to see on the show, even if I think Bill either should have chosen Gideon or one of Mabel's friends. I'm all for subplots. Blendon is naturally annoying after all. Maybe Bill could twist things so Blendon thinks the bullying isn't because of anything he did. Plus, why would Bill pick him of all people when there's a bunch of other insecure sad sacks for him to take advantage of? Time Baby was gonna show up. There's no reason for Blendon to be there outside of maybe a quick cameo. Anyhow, Weird Mageddon happens and Bill gets it started in here.
Physical form? Don't mind if I do!
Bill goes to town to unleash hell, taking no prisoners, only trophies.
I would just like to say that as a rich capitalist, I welcome your tyrannical rule.
How about instead I shuffle the functions of every hole in your face?
See? You become the show's breakout character if you deal with the terrible ones. Also, was this a reference to the fact that originally Centurion Candidate was all about Preston and Bill, not the Gleefuls? Bill also completely changes the town for the worst. He opens his own base of operations, the Pyramid. He traps Mabel in a prison sphere called Mabelland, and he unleashes bubbles of pure madness. He even changes the theme song. Copyright sucks. Fun fact, originally Bill got a villain song called It's Gonna Get Weird, which described his takeover of the town. A demo of it exists on YouTube, but it got cut for time. I still wish we got a version of Alexer singing it because it was so good. Ford tries to take out Bill, but the madness stops him.
Oh no!
Bill loves that he and his ex-friend are able to properly talk in the flesh for the first time ever.
Ah, don't look so sour, Fordsy. It's not too late to join me. With that extra finger, you'd fit right in with my freaks.
I'll die before I join you!
Not gonna lie, of course Ford refused the offer, but Bill said it so unintentionally condescending. Like, I think he meant it in the best way, but Ford got teased all his life for his extra finger. He's barking up the wrong tree. Dipper tries to stand up to Bill.
Do it, kid! Do some brilliant thing that takes me down right now! What do you got, Pine Tree? Everyone's waiting! Do it!
Dipper, I thought you read the journals cover to cover.
Bill!
Wow, E for effort. Bill tells Dipper that he was only worthwhile because he had his journals, so he removes the home field advantage.
Not much of a threat now, are you?
Dude, it's not like Dipper has a Sheldon Cooper level memory. Back at the Pyramid, they're partying when suddenly the Killjoy Fuzz shows up.
Just play it cool, ditch the time punch. Let me do the talking.
Time Baby demands Bill stand down before he makes another nightmare realm.
Whatever will I do about that? How about this?
Dang, Bill caused the the apocalypse, technically. But Bill's one mistake disregarding the Pines family, or at least Dipper. Nobody knows about Bill's weaknesses but them. Bill has the power to petrify people. It did not even have to be a drawn-out kill. Dude was brought down by his own hubris.
You worried he might try to cause some trouble?
Yeah, trouble with Mabel's bubble? Ha! I'm not worried.
To his credit, he did technically stop Ford, and Stan was on the verge of losing control, and there is Mabel Land. In fact, he made Gideon guard the door. Sucks that Gideon got hit with the stick of rushed character development, and ends up betraying Bill. Oh, don't worry, Bill was prepared. Bill, stop giving me revenge fantasy ideas. In part 2, Bill decides to take Weirdmageddon global, but first, he must attend to some light housekeeping. He made his own version of the Iron Throne, but it's not made out of the swords of Aegon's fallen enemies.
Rounding up all its terrified citizens and then stacking them into this massive throne of frozen human agony.
You know, it sucks Gravity Falls does not have a huge population, because Bill could easily make a book-accurate Iron Throne. Oh no, Bill is trapped forever in a small confined space. Now he knows how Beetlejuice feels. Bill realizes that Ford might know how to break down the barrier. So next episode, he tries to seduce Ford.
Where am I?
You're in the penthouse suite, kid. The tip of the pyramid. Have a drink. Make yourself comfortable.
But what do you effing call it? What else is that couch for? As expected, Ford refuses to budge. Although it seems like none of the Pines family have the ability to keep their mouth shut. Mabel's not the only one.
And did you find a way to undo it?
Of course. There's a simple equation that could collapse the barrier. But I'd never tell you.
Because Ford has the metal plate in his head, Bill has no choice but to have his way with him. Okay, I'm sorry, but these moments, write themselves. I'm not doing it on purpose.
You're making this so much harder than it needs to be. Everyone has a weakness, tough guy.
Oh, and like a true freak, Bill lets his minions watch. The remaining residents of Gravity Falls tried to launch an assault on the pyramid with the Shacktron. However, while awesome, the best they can do is take out the henchmaniacs. Bill realizes that because Ford cares for the kids, Dipper most of all, he will torture them. Then he'll talk. While Bill fights a quick battle against the Shacktron, Ford introduces the concept of the Zodiac. If 10 people with certain traits, main characters, come together and hold hands, they can banish Bill. At first, it seems to work, but the older twins have to ruin it.
See? Between me and him, I'm not always the bad twin.
Between him and me. Grammar, Stanley.
So they lost their chance. Bill shows up, worn down by the battle, and decides to do some Etsy-level retail therapy. Bill once again brings up his offer. Tell him how to take Weirdmageddon global, and he'll spare the kids, as he's 100% trustworthy. Bill should totally sell Nissans.
Last chance! Tell me how to take Weirdmageddon global and I'll spare the kids!
But he will not spare Stan. Ford can torture Stan if he wants. Bill's present to Ford. Correct his grammar all you damn want. However, the kids escape.
Peekaboo!
Actually, that was pretty quick. Bill decides to kill the kids, starting with Mabel.
Eeny! Meeny! Miny!
You wait!
For some reason, Ford agrees, even if he sounds like he just started smoking an entire pack of cigarettes.
Don't do it, Ford! It'll destroy the universe!
It's the only way!
The deal goes down. I told you I'm just going off of context clues.
Gotta hand it to you, Ford. You really know how to clear your... What?
What? Stan's mind? Why does it look like that? We saw it in another episode. It was as messy as my mental state. While Bill was busy chasing the kids, Ford revealed that an alternate way to defeat Bill would be to have Bill enter his mind and then erase him with the memory gun. The problem is, Ford has the metal plate in his head, and so it wouldn't really do anything. Good thing Ford has an identical twin brother. Reluctantly, Ford erases Stan's memories, which ends up destroying Bill. Bill. Bill's defeat is cool, if admittedly a little tragic. Good thing he earned it, and he's gone forever, probably. It's not like he was saying anything important in backwards gibberish. Now, I don't go with the theory that Bill is lurking inside of Stan's mind, because Ford wiped it all away, but I like the theory he was either reborn as king, so Tipper and Mabel will have to fight him one day, or his body, which is still in the woods, is the key to bringing him back. Thankfully, Gravity Falls is back to normal, and that was Bill Cipher, the villain of the town. Now, with that out of the way, I gotta ask, is Bill all he's cracked up to be? Well, it's complicated. Originally, I was gonna go with the standard, Bill was awesome back in the day, but he started a pattern, so in hindsight, he's cool but not as cool. Writing the script reminded me of how much I used to love Bill Cipher. He's the reason I got into Gravity Falls. He was my Halloween costume a few years back. However, Gravity Falls was arguably the trendsetter for most YA Disney cartoons, and Bill kicked off a certain trend of Disney Channel villains. Because the shows they're in tend to be sugar high and fun, as the antagonists, they'll be dark and foreboding, or creepy to an unhealthy degree. Bill, I still think is scarier than Toffee, but not as much as Emperor Bellows, if only because Bellows is more on the realistic side. And they were able to stop Bill several times over, and undo the damage in ways you're likely not going to be able to do with Bellows. Regardless, I do think, outside of several nitpicks, Bill is one of the best written Disney villains, as he was set up well and was always a joy on screen. Even with villains like Toffee, the Core, and even to some degree Bellows, I love them, but they leave me wanting way more, or feeling a little let down. I have multiple questions with them that will probably never get answered. Bill, while I want more, I still understand why this was all we got. Regardless, it's no biggie. Hey, maybe it's like comparing apples to oranges.